Buon tardi, natur membro di prensa, con vostro permesso, nós vai over in inglês. Welcome to all members of the press. A special welcome to Prime Minister of St. Martin, Silveria Jacobs, and a special welcome to Minister Rob Jetten, Minister of Climate and Energy of the Netherlands. Today we have initiated the first Caribbean Climate and Energy Conference, and this day we dedicated to the Kingdom. And we had delegations from Aruba, Curaçao, St. Martin, Ceiba, St. Eustatius, and Saba. And we brought forward the challenges that we all face on the topic, the important topic of climate and energy. We have also reached some agreements, and we have decided that we will walk the path forward together, and we will assist each other in this path in gaining clean energy for our countries. Allow me to go over Empapiamento for just a while. Pa Aruba e hecho que nos anfitrión de conferencia, prome conferencia de clima e energia di Caribe ta algo hopi grandi. Eta punto que para nós sempre é hopi importante para nós por logra combater efeito do cambio climático. Claro, é prioridade todo dia tá para lograr progresso e bem-estar de cada cidadão e de aqui, especialmente saliendo de pandemia, nos quer estar mais forte, mais resiliente para preparar para qualquer outro choque que por vir no futuro. E inanta é cambio climático. E na conferência de dia aqui, nós lo adressar o tema aqui e mira como nos potrá junto. Awe, junto com a Holanda, nós também firma MOU, caminha que nós está ancra e palabrachona para nós trazer junto, ribe caminha aqui. MOU do qual Holanda lo assisti a Aruba com expertício, com conhecimento, com assistência, para assim nós por fija e roadmap e mapa que nós temos cana para nós lograr chegar na energia limpa, energia renovável e principalmente lograr bem-estar e progresso de cada cidadão de nosso país. Então, orgulhoso e contente que nós logramos isso aqui, para sobre isso aqui é o passo que nós estamos buscando de direção correta. Me agradecer meu colega de aqui na Aruba, minister Ursula Arens e minister Glambert Cruz, que faz isso aqui possível, especialmente também minister Rob Jetten. Rob, ik wil je bedanken, nu ga ik over Nederlands, voor de bijstand, voor je bereidheid om ons hiermee te helpen. En vanaf het eerste moment, toen ik aanklopte en mijn wens uitte van het zou mooi zijn als alle landen van het Koninkrijk eens samen zouden kunnen komen om te praten over energietransitie. En de wens wordt nu gerealiseerd en ik ben daar zeer dankbaar om. So today we will sign this memorandum of understanding with the Netherlands, in which the Netherlands will assist Aruba with expertise, with knowledge, in order for us to achieve the goals that we have set for Aruba in the national energy policy. And I would like to thank everyone that made this possible. Thank you.
Thank you as well. It is an honor, as I mentioned previously, to be here in Aruba for this Caribbean Climate and Energy Conference in collaboration with the Kingdom. This memorandum of understanding, Minister Jetten and I, also with a very good relationship, having had discussions, and most recently when I was in the Netherlands for another signing, that we were able to kick off discussions and get our technical staffs moving with lightning speed to be able to secure this memorandum of understanding today. With this memorandum of understanding, it shows commitment, it shows understanding for the realities of our vulnerable small island developing states that form part of this kingdom. And as you know, Mr. Jetten represented the kingdom in COP27 when this was discussed with the world. And it was clear from that developed countries understand that climate action cannot be handled by individual countries alone, and there must be collaboration. So I am very, very proud to be a part of a kingdom that is willing to collaborate in this. And not just that we, as the Netherlands and St. Martin, sign a memorandum of understanding, but the riveting discussion that just took place within the kingdom, the Kos Islands, as well as the Netherlands, in terms of not just on a bilateral level collaborating, but collaborating as small islands together, learning from the best practices, which some have already experienced, and ensuring that we move forward together, united in a structural manner. So I believe those takeaways only solidify what will be done here with the signing. Our limited institutional capacity has been plaguing small island St. Martin, not having enough human resources as well as the finances. This compounds what we feel as challenges and SIDS. So this mutual assistance within the kingdom, and then by virtue of the following days within the region, will only strengthen the capacity of this very vulnerable region. Over the past 2 years, I've had many discussions internationally to source ways of accessing international funding for climate action. And so this is a great start to reduce the cost for the long run for the individual citizens that will be the beneficiaries of this transition. Through this MOU, we are solidifying stronger cooperation between the Netherlands and St. Martin in achieving the goals set out in the Paris Climate Agreement, with our recently approved roadmap in the Council of Ministers for the transition to renewable energy, with our energy policy being improved upon from 2014, we're now at the stage where we want to secure funding to be able to assess the feasible locations for the renewable energy technologies. And so we look forward to the assistance in technical expertise that would come forth from this MOU, and of course much, much more, as we would want to achieve 80 to 100% renewable energy by 2030 as per the SDG goals. In conclusion, this MOU in the field of sustainability and renewable energy between the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate of the Netherlands and the Government of St. Martin aims to advance and facilitate our climate goals and further strengthen strong cooperation and collaboration with the aim of accelerating the clean energy transition and promoting the use of renewable energy, mutually benefiting from the lessons learned in relation to the renewable energy and promoting the development of these technologies. I would like to thank in advance Minister Yetten for the great collaboration thus far, and hope that this will continue to be a trend within our kingdom.
Bon tardi and good afternoon, everyone. Today marks a special day for the Kingdom of the Netherlands, because we've been gathered here today for the first ever Caribbean Climate and Energy Conference, thanks to the leadership of Prime Minister Wever Cruz. So thank you for organizing this wonderful event. We kick-started this Caribbean Climate and Energy Conference with a day specially dedicated to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, with delegates from Curaçao, Aruba, Sint Maarten, Bonaire, Saba, Statia and the Netherlands. And we had a very constructive and open discussion this afternoon, and I'm really glad that we agreed that we will follow up with a Kingdom roadmap on climate mitigation, climate adaptation, the energy transition, so that we can really speed up our policies and deliver for our citizens a clean future, affordable energy, and also protect our beautiful islands of the Kingdom in this time of drastic climate change and extreme weather events. And this roadmap, we will draft this roadmap in the upcoming months. We will meet again at a Vierlanden overleg, specially dedicated to climate and energy policies. Already looking forward to that. But it's also very fitting and a great pleasure that I'm sitting here with these two great prime ministers of Aruba and Sint Maarten to sign memorandums of understanding between the Netherlands and Aruba and the Netherlands and Sint Maarten. We are announcing that we are going to strengthen the cooperation on renewable energy and climate action between our countries. And our goal is clear. We want clean and affordable energy for the people of Aruba and the people of Sint Maarten. And the signing of these memorandums of understanding is an important step to achieving those goals. We are convinced that we can already achieve tangible results in the very short term. For instance, on Bonaire, where I visited the beautiful island I visited in the past few days, thousands of solar panels are now connected to the grid only about 8 months after we took the final investment decision. So signing today this memorandum of understanding can hopefully kickstart the renewable transition on Aruba and Sint Maarten as well. I'm also pleased to announce that the government of the Netherlands has decided to make the National Growth Fund of the Netherlands applicable for Curaçao, Sint Maarten and Aruba. 100 million euros will be available from the National Growth Fund to accelerate the climate and energy transition in the coast countries and improve employment, living standards and economic growth potential on all 3 islands. And in addition, we will make funds through our main renewable energy subsidy scheme for cost-effective renewable energy projects also available for Aruba, Sint Maarten and Curaçao. And later this week I will visit Curaçao and sign a memorandum of understanding with the country as well. Our Public Research Institute for Applied Science, TNO, will make extra expertise available for Sint Maarten and Aruba as part of this memorandum of understanding, so that we can really see what is the potential for increasing the capacity of solar and wind, what is the opportunity for battery storage, for example, and what are the options for a green hydrogen production, especially on Aruba and later this week on Curaçao. So to conclude, I'm very pleased with this first day of the Caribbean Climate and Energy Conference. Very looking forward to increase the cooperation with the 4 countries and 6 islands of the kingdom, and pleased that we can now start with the signing ceremony and sign the MOUs with Aruba and with Sint Maarten, so that we can bring climate justice to all our citizens, and that we can showcase that the Kingdom of the Netherlands can lead the way towards climate neutrality for all small island states. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I hope you can bear with me. I have 3 questions and not 2. My name is Melissa Stamper. I am a freelance journalist on Aruba. And my question is, how come Curaçao will sign this MOU later on this week? How come Curaçao is not here today?
Curaçao is here today. Luckily, they attended the climate conference. But I have the pleasure to be in the Caribbean region for almost 2 weeks. So I've already spent a few days on Bonaire. I will be on Aruba until Sunday, and then I will travel to Curaçao. And we thought it would be nice to sign the MOU with Curaçao on the island of Curaçao. And I already promised to the Prime Minister that next time I'll visit the Caribbean region, it will be boven winds, so then I can visit St. Martin Sabine Station.
Okay. My next question is, how much will be invested in the exchange of staff and scientific knowledge? And are there any conditions tied to this assistance?
Well, for the part of Aruba, I cannot say how much will be invested because we just signed the MOU. We will be discussing the content of it, like Minister Yetten said. TNO is doing a first assessment. What would be an idea of the roadmap for Aruba to reach the goals that we set in our national energy policy? So it's difficult for me to say now how much will be invested in expertise. But Minister Yetten just mentioned also the Groeifonds. It's the Dutch Groeifonds, the National Groeifonds from the Netherlands, that was only accessible by the Netherlands for the Netherlands and not by Aruba, Curaçao, and St. Martin. And this is a decision that was taken just now. Yeah. And the Parliament is being informed as we speak, I think. So that is something very important. And the details we will learn from them when the letter is sent to the Tweede Kamer. But I just heard, and I was informed before, that we're talking about 100 million that is accessible for us, for Aruba, Curaçao, and St. Martin, to apply for funds if we have the projects in place, if we have the roadmap in place. And we were promised that the bureaucracy to access these funds is not too burdensome, like, for example, to access funds from the EU. So we'll need to see. But we're confident that with this assistance, even if it's only technical assistance in achieving the goals, we will be setting very important and big steps forward for Aruba.
So does that mean that the National Growth Fund, that is what is available to get assistance in technical staff, or is it 2 separate things?
We will make sure that there is technical assistance from my ministry and other ministries if necessary. And then for specific projects, the countries can apply for the National Growth Fund, but I am also willing to set in the SDA++, which is the subsidy scheme for renewable energies, just like I did for Bonaire, Ceiba, and Statia. So if there is a very specific project, for example, with windmills or with solar panels, then we can see what extra investment is needed, and then we will come up with a specific agreement for that project.
Okay, my last question is, there are already some research being done on how to tackle climate change on the islands, on the Caribbean islands, such as the Islanders at the Helm. Are you aware of this research? And if so, are the findings being used to get a better understanding of the problem?
I think that was one of the main topics we discussed during this day of the conference. There are a lot of local solutions and a lot of nature-based solutions that people of the islands know best of. So what I think we can do from the Dutch government perspective is mainly support these kind of local solutions and local expertise. So it doesn't make any sense to have someone sitting in Europe thinking of the solutions on the islands if people of the islands already know the solutions. So the roadmap for the Kingdom on climate and energy policies will focus on exchanging views, ideas and expertise between the 4 countries and the 6 islands. And I think that was a very important part of our discussion earlier today.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Ayana Terrell. The question that I want to ask is on behalf of Judy Fitzpatrick from the Daily Herald. But before I do that, I just have one statement to make. Prime Minister, I am very proud of you. And Minister Yetta. So let me proceed to the question. I just had to say that it was a monumentous moment. The question posed is, what specific green energy project does government have in mind to embark on with these funds? That's the first question. And the second question is, what will be done about the issue of rapidly rising of sea levels? In Cayman Islands, for example, they are already talking about building barriers around beaches to combat this. What will we tackle, or how will we tackle this?
Thank you on behalf of you. Thank you to Judy of the Daily Herald St. Martin for sending those questions in. St. Martin, as I mentioned in my address earlier, before signing this MOU, we are in phase 1 of the roadmap of our transition to sustainable energy, where we're now seeking to find suitable locations for the placement of the different types of technologies. And so for us, it is an opportune time to be able to have the dialogue, to receive an injection of funding and technical support to be able to get that off and running. Why would this be helpful? Because at the end of the day, you're going towards a build-to-own facility, which will be together with our national electricity company, and that will then diminish the amount of outside investments that would need to be made and decrease the amount of time and the agreement before the company would then own it. So it requires still some work, as we are still in the finalization process and ensuring that our energy company is on board in the sense of being able to do what needs to be done from their end. But at least as a country, we've taken the serious decision to agree or approve a roadmap towards transition to sustainable energy. And now we have an agreement on the table that is this, let's say, the platform from whence we can then proceed to execute this roadmap. So for us, it is a great moment, and that is something. We have several other projects, as some in St. Martin may know, which are not energy-based, but also deal with, for instance, the plastic-free campaign, which aims at reducing waste, which is also ensuring that we are taking care of our environment. And there's a coastal reef national assessment also that is in the beginning stages. EU funded, yes, both of those projects. And so once we get the results of those projects, then we also have this opportunity to make better use of this MOU. And for the second question, should I let the others answer first? No? For the second question related to the rapid sea rising levels, and it's a good thing I brought that up in our discussion earlier, these are actual things that are happening right now, and a lot of research has and is being carried out in light of this. Interns from the VU Amsterdam recently conducted research into the possible future climate change scenarios for St. Martin, taking into consideration sea level rise, rain, as well as wind. This provided maps of possible coastal flooding and an assessment of damages to the built environment up to 2050. So the project that I mentioned earlier, the Coral Reef National Assessment, has been developed with the funding through Resembid, and this project will gather coastal, marine and terrestrial data, biodiversity data, conduct a coastal risk and vulnerability assessment, and provide input into a national coastal adaptation and management plan. So St. Martin is, yes, in the beginning stages of these projects, but we are let's say one of our participants say we have the vision in mind and are taking the necessary steps. And further info on this will be shared with our local media in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Last question. Thank you. Good afternoon, ministers. I'm Oriana Herman from Bon Dia, Aruba. I have one question specifically directed to Minister Wava Cruz, narrowing down on Ms. Stamper's last question on local resources. I wanted to ask if the government has any plans on working with local institutions and organizations that provide expertise on the local wildlife and environment, and if so, which one would they be?
Thank you for your question. My colleague, Minister Arens, is working or is in charge with the implementation of whatever roadmap we decide on climate, and Minister Glambert Cruz on the part of energy. If there's something that we've learned throughout the years, and today was emphasized, is that we cannot do this alone. And Minister Arens, I don't know if Minister Arens is still in the room, he mentioned something very important about awareness. And awareness, one of the parts is that no government can even think that this is something that you can solve alone. It's something that we have to do together. So he has, he will be in charge with the implementation. He will not do it alone. He will do it with the private sector, with the NGOs, with academia, in Aruba in general. And he's nodding yes. So that's the case, and Minister Glambert Cruz as well. At this point, I cannot mention any names, but in due time, they will announce that. Thank you. So, having said that, there are no more questions. We want to thank the press for being here today. Thank you for a tremendous first day of our conference, and to all present, thank you, and we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you.